But to see today be the first time, the day we walk out the door, where Travis has the op in practice to spend time on both the offense and the defense, was a really good visual for us to see before we ever get to training camp, knowing that that's the next iteration. He's going to have to be able to vacillate between the two positions instead of just defense on one day, offense the other, knowing that that's going to be what a game could in fact look like should he earn those ops that come on game day.
All right, welcome into this week's EV.Podcast, and I am here with the triumvirate, if you will. Jaguars executive, I always have to get through this, Executive Vice President of Football Operations and the longest title in the NFL, Tony Boselli.
Thank you.
Head Coach Liam Coen and General Manager James Gladstone. We're just, I guess, sort of here to wrap up the off-season. I guess the first thing I want to know is, after 2 months working together, you guys, the dynamic has been so good. Tony, I guess you start. It's your podcast. Tell me about the dynamic of working with these two.
Well, until yesterday, it was really good.
Hit a snag? Is this news?
Yeah, hit a snag. James decided, we played one-on-one basketball.
Okay.
And very poor match. I mean, it was brutal.
Neither of us won.
And James
if you would have looked at us by the end of it, it was
like
a bad
school where
sight.
everybody's a winner?
No, everyone was a loser.
Okay.
James won on the scoreboard, which was fine. It's a good competition. The head coach on national TV today had to let the whole nation know that James beat me in one-on-one basketball. So there's a division going on right now.
Yeah,
we'll work through that.
With quickness, agility, did he go inside? Did he draw fouls?
Well, it was
no fouls called.
There's no fouls.
Okay.
No fouls called.
And there were fouls.
I might have hacked him a couple times. He won, fair and square. He has quickness on me. There's no doubt about that. He has skill on me. He can shoot.
Stamina, probably, too.
He has working body parts.
Oh, there were moments
it's hard
where
to
it
play
was very
basketball.
clear that I was playing against somebody who had a very long NFL career.
And then finally, he beat me mentally, which is the biggest, because I was up 9-7, and he dared me to shoot a two-pointer to end
Game
it.
over. 2
And,
points.
after airballing it, he took over. It was game, set, match.
Tony tried for the shortcut. He said, yeah, screw it. I've been backing him down
We
all
couldn't
day.
breathe. We were both gasping for air.
We were both hoping that shot went in. All right, let's be
And
clear.
both realizing why you don't play that much one-on-one basketball anymore.
exactly.
Now, if Liam's involved with this, who wins?
So here's
If it's
where it all
round-robin
started.
tournament.
It all
This is where
started.
it all started.
It
Okay.
all started with, a playful yet underlying serious
It was a dig.
statement.
It was a dig.
Any physical competition, name it, and
He would win.
and I'll come out on top.
Okay.
So this was the first of that list.
Okay.
I think it's probably fair to say that if we decided to arm wrestle, it's not going to go in my favor.
So Tony's the only one that would probably remember this reference, the old Superstars shows.
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking at now? Like
Yeah, but
games of-
very modified, something that we want no one to see.
This cannot be documented.
Or talk about on national TV.
We thought this was a safe space.
We violated that. So, but overall, listen, I think if you look back how it all started, we kind of all get thrown together. All first time doing this specific role. Liam and I first about a month together of going through, helping him get his staff. But then really our first thing together was going through the GM search. And then James comes in and that was a fun process because it was the first time working with Liam and seeing how aligned we were and how we thought about things and looked at the world. And then James jumps into the frying pan with us right at the combine and going through pressure situations, free agency, draft, having to make roster moves. I thought it was a good test, and it's been a lot of fun. I think my favorite part of the whole thing, it's funny, my wife asked me about 6 weeks ago, she said, what's the most pleasant surprise? Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't know if it's a surprise, but what else can you ask for is be able to wake up every day and go do something you enjoy and you look forward to. It's not like you wake up going, oh, I got to go to work, or I got to go see Liam or James or whoever. It's like, you know what? It's enjoyable. It's like, hey, I can't wait to get there, and it's gonna be fun. and we joke around. We have a good time. We're serious when we need to be serious, but also, we understand that, hey, this is a long grind. Let's enjoy it.
Somewhat taking Tony out of the mix because it's his podcast, but we haven't talked to you guys as much. The working relationship between you two, knew each other from the Rams, but as you said, Liam, not really in the same. It's not like you guys sat there and thought at the Rams, we're going to make this us someday. Talk about the relationship between you two.
Yeah, I think that we're both coaches' sons first and foremost, right? So there's a natural just balance of what you appreciate in players and coaches and personnel and just the building and kind of the various ways of communicating, I think are very aligned just naturally.
Right.
That's something that when you grow up as a coach's kid in locker rooms, on sidelines, in the meeting rooms, and you just gain a little bit of a different perspective for the game and for the players and the people that are really in the building. So I think that it starts there. We're both obviously younger within our roles and also younger parents. And, those are some things that we just naturally align with and have a lot in common with.
And James, I assume, same thought.
Yeah, very similar. I think, obviously, with a previous working relationship, you understand broadly who the person is that you're stepping in to the bunker with. It's shown itself in new ways, though, just the growing appreciation for the way in which he moves. And one of the biggest elements there is the standards and the idea that, look, these are the standards that we set and we're going to uphold those. And you see that on the practice field and in the rooms everywhere. Right. That's exactly right. And that clarity, right, that firmness is an important piece to the role, and it's something that I didn't get to see on such a grand stage with the Rams, and it's shown itself endlessly over the course of this offseason program in our conversations, and it's something I have a deep respect for. And I think everybody can have a respect for that, especially when it's rooted in all the right things and all the things that we're aligned on. And so that's something that I've been, really excited about, knowing that come the challenging times, that's where it's going to be tested. And in these windows, it's not a win or a loss on the grass. And so we're practicing that. And it's been cool to see that in those reps, it's shown itself on the right side. And really looking forward to what this group and the greater group looks like once we're in the thick of it this season and get a chance to show what we've built up, and get a chance to experience what is absolutely going to include setbacks or adversity and how we navigate those waters, because that's the time that we'll really know what we're built for. And those ops are something that I know all three of us are certainly excited about showing our true colors in.
And I was going to throw that question open for everybody, but you sort of touched on it. Have you all talked about, okay, this is one thing, but how do we handle a loss? Because unless you go 17-0, there's adversity. Are
you saying we're not?
Well, I'm saying it's possible. I'm saying statistically it's difficult. But has that been a thought that you guys have communicated with? How do we handle rough waters?
Well, I mean, I think...
Or you just know it's coming because you're in the NFL?
Well, I think we all know it's coming. I mean, as a player, I lived it, being a part of this organization the last, since the beginning. You go ups and downs, and you understand the stress. I haven't ever sat on this side of the aisle in the difficult times, but have watched and seen. Liam's been a coach his whole life, growing up. James has been seeing it from growing up as a high school with his dad, but also the Rams. So I think it's not like we're naive and thinking, hey, being Pollyannic, everything's going to be great and we're going to kumbaya every day and high five. That's not reality. But that's one of the fun things is it's okay to disagree, and I think and it's okay to have hard conversations, and we've been purposeful of sitting down and talking through not just what we're going through now, but what is it going to feel like, what is it going to look like when the bullets are flying, and making sure, like, hey, we're starting to understand and learn each other's personalities and communication styles. And one thing I appreciate about both these guys, and it's a theme that's been said, is like, hey, the freedom to be yourself, and the other two of the three of us respecting that and be able to learn how that person moves and flows and communicates, and trying to meet everyone at their place, and that's all you can ask for.
You mentioned the catchphrase that James has obviously talked about a lot, the freedom to be yourself, and the idea of bringing in a roster of guys that you like, who love ball, who play for each other. After a couple of months, I'd like to get all three of y'all's thoughts on that. Do you like the progress you've made toward that? I guess, Liam, you start.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been some progress made. It's absolutely not where it needs to be yet,
Sure.
and that's normal. That's very fully expected. But in terms of the buy-in from the players,
right?
That's ultimately truly what matters most is what we do out on the grass, our style of play, the way that we communicate with each other in the building, the way that our standards are upheld within the building. Those are the things that we've tried to instill this whole spring. And so absolute work in progress for sure. And we have a lot of work to do this summer and in training camp as we lead into the season. But I've been really pleased with the guys. The group, it's a fun group to be around thus far. For the most part, everything that we've asked them to do, they've leaned into, worked their tails off in the weight room this whole spring and winter, and hopefully that will continue to progress us throughout the summer into training camp.
And you sort of set the tone in this world, James, but do you like that progress? I'm sure you have a vision for eventually how you want the roster to look. Do you like, after 2 or 3 months, where it's headed?
I never think that job's done. It's
Okay.
ongoing. Certainly feel better than when we started. But this is a build. It's not something that's ever going to be complete, in our opinion. And I know that perfection is certainly something you'd like to see in place, but it's not the reality. It's oftentimes, especially during this phase of the calendar year, that there's going to be some poor results or a failure or a setback or whatever it might be, with the runway to address it and see how somebody responds, how a group responds, etc. And so these learning opportunities are opportunities for growth, and that's really what you probably lean into more than anything at this phase, and like to think that by the time we get to training camp, we continue to see some version of an ascension. Like Coach mentioned, we're not at a spot where we feel complacent or like the job's done. We got a lot of work still to be done, and we got to continue to earn everything that we get beyond this moment in time.
A fun topic as we work toward the end. Travis Hunter now in the building for a couple of months, a chance to get to know him. That's obviously the huge storyline of the offseason. After a couple of months of getting to know him, Liam, thoughts on the kid? Because he's impressive.
Yeah, he loves football. He loves to compete. You feel his energy out on the grass. His endurance out on the grass is just kind of nonstop. He definitely brings a little bit of that youthful energy to our team, to our offense and defense. He's made some, really good plays, and he's continuing to have to learn as he goes. I mean, he's learning to do something that not a lot of people have done,
Sure.
right? And so he's learning a complex offensive system with a ton of moving parts. He's learning a brand new defense, and also playing in the National Football League for the first time in his life. So been really pleased with the maturity level, his ability to seamlessly move on, maybe from a negative play to the next play. And I think he's getting along really well with the guys.
A ton of credit, John, has to go to our coaching staff, our support system, for taking this on. I think Liam has talked about it at each step that he's had the chance to.
Because you're trying to invent something that's never existed.
That's exactly
in that
right.
support
This
system,
is an organizational sort of path here that has to involve a lot of moving parts and really a complex sort of operation, and try to make it something that everybody can grasp and everybody can get a hold of. But to see today be the first time, the day we walk out the door, where Travis has the op in practice to spend time on both the offense and the defense, was a really good visual for us to see before we ever get to training camp, knowing that that's the next iteration. He's going to have to be able to vacillate between the two positions instead of just defense on one day, offense the other, knowing that that's going to be what a game could in fact look like
Right.
should he earn those ops that come on game day. And obviously that's a big part of this. We're providing that pathway, we're providing that op, but it's got to be earned. It's got to come through commitment and performance, and certainly time will tell on that front, but looking forward to it.
And is this something they have to go ahead?
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing that I appreciate, this goes for Travis Hunter, is the willingness to think outside the box.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that I love about working together is the competitive nature of like not being satisfied and saying, okay, we're not worried about how it's been done, but we have a vision, and it might be not correct day one. We might have to pivot, but being unafraid to make decisions and say, okay, we're going to go try to do something that hasn't been done. And it might look different through the process of how do we onboard him, or how does he learn, or whatever it is, not just for Travis, but any player coming in, and thinking of like, what are we, being unafraid to do whatever it takes to try to create a championship organization, to be the best we can in everything. I think that's the most fun, whether it's Travis playing both sides of the ball and organizationally looking across how do you prepare someone for that, what's the best way for them to learn, the stress on our coaches, because now you have both sides of the ball knowing they have limited opportunities with the individual because we're governed by a set of rules and how much time we can spend and everything else, and getting creative and how do you think of different ways to help a young man learn both sides of the ball, practice time, not wearing them out, and not being set in saying we're going to do it this way and this is the answer, but the openness of saying, hey, let's go do this and evaluate, and hey, maybe we need to pivot. And that's been the fun part, and I think that's one of the things that for us to be successful, we need to continue to have that mindset, that growth mindset, looking forward and continuing to press on and not be afraid to take chances, to look different ways, to do it differently, to innovate. And that's I think that's an important thing, and especially when you think about what we're trying to allow Travis Hunter to do in the NFL.
And just one more thing that a lucky first-time head coach gets to deal with, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's pretty cool to see, right? Like you definitely want players that want to be the best, and that's ultimately what he does want to be, whether it's at receiver or cornerback. He has a drive to be a really good football player in this league, and so we want to be able to provide that, because ultimately that'll help our team win as many games. And usually when your best players are your hardest workers and the guys that truly love to compete and love the game, that's always what you're looking for, and he has that.
Any, and I'll ask Liam first, but any can jump in. Anything that you know about the team now that you maybe didn't know a couple months ago before you got them together, realizing that pads aren't on yet, everything starts in training camp, but anything stand out about this bunch?
I think that something to be said with some mental toughness and resiliency through multiple, obviously there's guys on this roster that have been through a ton of change and a ton of turnover, and then it becomes a time where do you trust the process? Are you trusting your coaches? Are you trusting the building? And so to be kind of thrust into this position and be around a bunch of guys that have had success, whether it be here in Jacksonville or at different organizations that they've been a part of, to really trust the process and to take the coaching and to not take it personal if it does get a little heated, and to
because there's some change in your doing that they have to trust you on.
That's right, and ultimately we've got to build the relationships with the players in order for them to fully trust you. Typically, coach-to-player relationship, they're going to initially do what you ask them to do because they're a player and you're a coach, right? And that's your job, is to help them get better. And but those lines can sometimes get blurred if you do not trust. And I've been really pleased with just overall the team, what we did with the Iron Jag games and with the weight room and what we were putting on them mentally on both the offensive, defensive, and special teams. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to trust. And those guys have really leaned into that, and I've appreciated that.
It's cool.
Yeah, the surprising element on some level, it was you walk in sort of optimistic that when we start this off-season program, we're going to have strong attendance. You don't know that based off of,
Sure.
the weeks leading up to that kickoff, because it's a new regime. What has happened in the past may or may not be indicative of what's about to occur here this offseason, but the attendance, the participation has been through the roof, and that's not a consistent theme across the NFL landscape.
Right.
So to see that from our players in our first offseason programming, pointing to a lot in which Coach had just mentioned, that was a very important piece to getting this thing and the foundation for it in a good spot heading into training camp, but certainly points back to them and their willingness, despite in many instances having been through this before, to step right back in.
Gotcha.
And almost starting with the idea that I'm going to trust this and see where it takes me.
Have you guys gotten any feeling? I assume Tony has, because he's been in the community forever. But you can't be around this right now and be out in the city without realizing how fans are sort of getting on board. Have you felt that, James?
Oh, the love in the sport has been awesome. Every time I step out and I get a mention or a high five, it's certainly welcome. And
and now they're going to congratulate you on the big one-on-one big.
Oh.
That's even better.
I don't think that's that's not congratulations worthy.
Right.
If they saw
And they'll
this
be
thing,
giving
I'm
him grief
telling
now.
you, it was not a good look. Not a good look. We would definitely both be painted in a much different picture if anybody captured that moment in time.
Me in a worse picture, but yes.
Yeah. But nonetheless, the support, the love has been something that's been very much appreciated upon arrival. I actually am looking forward to a summer here in Jacksonville, because right now the only map that I have or path that I have in my head is from home to the facility. Being able to understand the broader landscape of the city is going to be awesome, and I'm sure it'll allow for a little bit more interaction with the community that I haven't already got. But just the natural interactions have been pretty good, going to the grocery store, things like that.
Obviously, the open minicamp day was off the charts in terms of energy. Have you felt it elsewhere as well, Liam?
Yeah, every time we go out as a family, it's been continuous support. People stopping for pictures, and it's great when you see kids, right? Kids having children, young children of my own now, and kind of being that person as a young child as well. You always want to be able to connect with the fans, and because ultimately, so much of this is a part of them in this whole city, and trying to provide a winning product, and a product that our fans are proud of, that they want to come and see, that ultimately they know that we're doing everything in our power to put the best product on the field and to make our city, our town, our organization proud. And that's something that you've definitely felt in the community.
And I know, Tony, you and I have talked a lot about getting that back, embracing the fans, a lot of the transparency that all of you have been willing to give to the website and Jaguars media. That's all been part of it. Do you like what you've seen so far on all those fronts, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been great. But to be clear, we are in the honeymoon period, and
no doubt.
When you change, people get excited.
I was getting to the honeymoon part.
Because it was bad. I mean, listen, things have not been, we wouldn't be here if things were going great and
Right.
everyone was excited. That's how it is. So I always appreciate our fans. I think what I appreciate most about this offseason is the entire building here, and how the majority of people, and when I say that, our coaching staff, the personnel, football ops, the support staff. There's been a lot of change that's been put in place, and the competitive spirit of the majority of the people that have been involved to attack it, take advantage of the opportunity, and try to shift and move this big, large ship into the right direction, so that we're not just having our fans excited during this honeymoon phase where there's change and there's hope and everything else. What I appreciate, the work has been done where we're at the very least in this honeymoon period giving ourselves the opportunity, earning the right to go into camp and to continue to work and to compete, so that the real test will be at the end of the year. Forget about what the record is. I think what Liam said is exactly right. That our fans will appreciate the product that's being put on the field, the competitiveness, the style of football, the work ethic, the toughness, so that they continue to build the excitement for what we're building. That's what I appreciate the most, because I know that when change comes, yes, fans are excited, and I love our fans. But I don't think what people appreciate, what happens in this building, lives are impacted, people are moving in. It's all new stuff for our players. Players have questions. Liam's right. As a player, you're like, you're doing what you're supposed to do because they're the coaches. But at the same time, there's a building of trust. You know, James came in, middle, parachutes in the middle. All these different people that have done things one way their whole lives. James comes in and says, this is how we're going to...
He comes in and says, hey, we're trading up.
We're doing a lot of different new things. And that it was gradual, and we continue to do. And watching the competitive nature, I don't want to say I was surprised, but I look at our players, guys who'd been here, it hadn't gone well. It'd been very easy for them to say, like, here we go again. But the majority of players buying in, football operations, the work our coaches have done, personnel, that's what gets me excited. And that's where I'm hopeful that, hey, we are earning the right to have an opportunity to go compete at a high level to give us a chance to go win football games. And that's all you can ask. That's what our fans are asking for, ultimately results. But you can't worry about the results. Those will take care of themselves. If we do, I think, my belief is you do everything right, trust the process, work, adjust where you need to, compete your tails off, everything else will take care of itself.
No better way to end this. No better way to end an exciting offseason. Guys, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Tony, since it's his podcast, he also can't thank you enough. But
I do thank you.
Fantastic.
John was getting tired of talking to just me.
Well, I've been doing that for 30 years. So, but absolutely. Guys, enjoy the offseason, and thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.